You have the agenda in your book. I'll try to keep it up here on the screen too for those who are close enough to read it. We did the opening prayer already before we ate, so we won't do another opening prayer. The first order of business is to appoint a clerk. Chris Kramer has graciously offered her services, so I'll entertain a motion to accept Chris as our recorder for this meeting. So moved. Bruce Ogilvie moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Nancy Reed seconds it. All in favor of Chris being our recorder, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. It's unanimous. Thank you very much, Chris. The minutes from the last year's meeting are in your booklet as well. I will tell you that there was not a clerk for the last year's meeting. Nobody volunteered to be the clerk. You might remember we did it in the sanctuary, so we could all spread out more. It was a COVID-related thing. And Jody was the presider. Jody Barron was the presider. But nobody was a clerk, so we videotaped it. And I spent a couple hours going through that videotape, transcribing it. Now, it's not word for word. I couldn't hear it well enough to do word for word, but I think I got the gist of what we did last year, which is essentially the same thing we're doing this year. Vote for new officers for the vestry, vote for delegates to the convention. There were no changes to our bylaws that we had to vote on last year. So, is there any, you haven't had time to read through this, I know, but we do have to approve these, at least interim approval, pending.
I move we approve the minutes as submitted.
Is there a second? Carol second, Carol Vaughn second. All in favor of approving the minutes as written, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. The minutes are approved. Thank you, Bruce. There's a senior warning address in there that I put together, and I'm obviously not gonna read it to you, but there's two things that I want just to say to you today. The first is just to remind everybody what happened to us this past year. Our rectors left us and moved on to bigger and better things in the Diocese of Indianapolis. We saw both of them. Bigger and better.
Just bigger.
Just bigger. Stand corrected. That is not in my address.
That's what happened to these
we were able to visit with both Jody and Christian at the convention last October. And they're both doing well. So it was a good thing for them, and I think it will eventually be a good thing for us. Losing your rectors can be a gut-wrenching thing for a parish. A lot of parishes take a long time to get over that, and some never do. But because of the people in this room and several who couldn't make it today, we were able to keep this parish together. I think we grew a little bit closer over the past 6 months. I've heard good things from almost everybody about how we stayed together. We didn't fall apart. We didn't gripe and moan and about not having a rector. And so I want to thank you all for that. I mean, it does my heart good to think about what we did these past 6 months. And a lot of that was on people who just come here to do God's work every single Sunday and other days as well. The worship committee, we need to thank them every chance you get, because they are the ones that went out and sought visiting priests to come as often as we can get them. They're the ones that put together the Advent communion that we've done 3 times, I think. Four times, which was well received. It's a nice service. It's almost a choral service in effect. So they did that. Larry Smith and all the folks that are on that worship committee, Larry and Terry, and on this
Joni.
and Jody. Worked their tails off to make sure we had a service every Sunday. We missed one, we missed two. Weather was one. What was the other one, you remember?
Power.
Power. We had no power that day. Other than that, we had a service every Sunday since our rectors left in mid-June. So congratulations to all of us. The second thing I wanted to talk briefly about is about the people who just do the best they can every day for this church. Whether it's altar guild, whether it's usher, whether it's acolyte, whether it's coffee hour, which Carol does religiously every week, whether it's admin, ministry, lay reading, lay visitors. We're gonna miss a little bit. It's all in there. We're gonna leave out somebody, the discernment committee. I mean, the people who wash the tablecloths occasionally. It's just the people who put light bulbs in when they need to be put in. You know, just everybody who does what they do for this church. I'm just so grateful, and especially to the folks that work at that baby pantry. I mean, that thing is well known throughout this tri-county area, four-county area, really. And they do so much good work for the community. And we are grateful that we have that. We're grateful for the angel tree. Oh, you moved over. I'm trying to keep track of you and you moved. I mean, angel tree, good news gardeners, baby pantry.
Gracious.
Father Lovett. Lucretius. What did I forget? It's 7. Anyway, it's all in there. All in dress. So thanks very much for the people who do what you do for this parish. We're very small, we're very active, we're gutsy, we don't give up. We're like a good army unit.
Thanks to you, Michael, for keeping us all going together.
You're welcome. And the last thing I'll say, it's been an honor for me to be the senior warden this past year. It's been a little bit tougher year. And, the vestry will tell you if you ask them about how tough it's been. But it's been my honor, and I will continue to serve this church in whatever capacity you need me to in the future. If that's changing light bulbs, I'll change light bulbs. If that's lay reading, I'll do that. If it's ushering, I already do that. Whatever you ask me to do, I will do. So thanks again. Okay, on to. Our bylaws allow us to vote a slate for the new vestry members rather than by secret ballot. I think that with the slate that we have, we can probably do that without too much angst. So I would entertain a motion to vote slate by show of hands rather than by ballot. Well, the slate is Bruce Ogilvie, Terry McCumber, and Mary Lee. That's our slate of officers for this, our candidates for this coming vestry. So is there a motion to vote the slate instead of secret ballot? Susan Winsler, is there a second?
I'll second.
Debbie Clark, second. All in favor of voting the slate, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. All right. Thank you very much. We have 3 new members of the vestry. Our bylaws also allow us to do the vote by slate for the alternate delegates to the convention. And they are Joy Foster. I don't know if you know what happened to Joy last year. But she was a delegate last year. She and I were the delegates. And we got to Grand Rapids, and she fell sick the night we got there, so she had to come home on Saturday morning, because she couldn't be a delegate that day. So Nancy Simmons stepped in to be the delegate. Yeah. And so Joy asked if she could be an alternate this next year, and then be the delegate next year. So thank you very much for volunteering. Our other candidate for alternate is Mike Rank. Mike is a brand new parishioner here. He started just a few months ago, maybe in October-ish. And you'll see his bio in there as well. I thought it appropriate to ask him to be a delegate first, an alternate delegate, rather than ask him to come right into a vestry position or something like that. He graciously agreed to do that. So, I will entertain a motion to vote the slate for alternates, who are Joy Foster and Mike Rank.
Support.
Support. Bruce will be seconded. Mary Link made a motion to vote the slate. Mary Link. And Bruce will be seconded. All in favor of these two people becoming our alternate delegates, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. The motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay, that's all the voting. You can put your voting pedals down.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I rise to a point of privilege. We have not put a sign-up list going around, we just started it.
Okay.
We do need to have a list of everybody here for the secretary, so she doesn't have to write them all down herself.
All right. Thank you. Please sign the list before you leave. If it doesn't get around to you, just jot your name down.
Mike,
You're not. Sorry.
can I have just about 2 minutes
Sure.
before we go into like parish finances?
Right.
Barb, would you stand up, please? Mike's already up. Joy Foster. Would you guys just take about 30 seconds and put your eyes on these people? They started on the vestry in 2020. Guess what? Also started in 2020.
You weren't responsible for that.
No. They didn't start. No. But they had to navigate that. And they navigated a sabbatical. They navigated changing in accountant firms that's been nightmarish. The amount of time these three people, Joy at Outreach, Mike can talk about the worship committee as being responsible for the priests that we've had. That was my job and Joy's job as a subcommittee of that. All of it. You need to thank Joy. Because every single priest, except for Linnea, which, I got lucky, and when I asked her, she signed up for 4, has been Joy. The amount of time these guys have thank them personally. Buy them something like, a little treat. Joy will stay on as Outreach. Mike's volunteered to be the treasurer. Barb's the only one that might have a little piece going forward. Just thank you.
I think I can speak for all vestry members. It's been our pleasure to be on this vestry together. Very congenial, no fights, no knockdown dragouts. And, we all got along well. We all did what we were supposed to do to make this a better place to come and worship. So thanks to that. And I'm sure the vestry that we just seated will do the same thing this next year. We're not going to go through all of these reports. I will give anybody who submitted a report to the vestry a chance to stand up and talk if they'd like to. But the reports are in there for you to read. If you have any comments or concerns, just please don't come to me unless it's related to the treasurer. If they elect me the treasurer. But see one of your vestry members if you have any issues. But the reports we do want to stand up and read and say something about are the first 5 or 6 down to concern. So with that, Bart, I yield the floor to you.
So I'll stay here.
Yeah.
Is this okay? Great. In one of her Advent sermons, Mother Linnea urged us to look for the joy even when we know the facts. And for those of us, and it's been a real team, who've been wallowing in the financial facts at St. Philip's for the past year, I'm happy to report there is joy to share with you, and that will be the focus of my remarks in the next few minutes. A more detailed narrative is in your booklet if you care to read it, as well as budget documents if you want to pursue those. I am happy to report with great joy that we are in stable financial position as we end one fiscal year and begin another. We have to conduct a formal audit every single year because of our assets. That's a requirement of the diocese, and it's largely because of our endowment. We are required to have an audit. We received our audit report toward the end of 2022 for the 2021 fiscal year, and I'm happy to share with you that we've gotten, these are the words of the auditor, a blue ribbon report for that audit, as we actually usually do. I also want, and I don't know if she's still on the, yes she is, but I won't embarrass her by saying she's at the dessert table. I leave it to the camera. Okay. But I have got to offer a special thanks and let you all know that that is a heavy lift. That audit is a heavy lift, and it goes on for months. And I could not have done that without the help of Terry, who was just a cheerful servant through that grueling process. As well as other things too. First comments are about our operating budget. You probably all understand that our operating budget consists of three primary sources of income. Our pledges, our non-pledged donations on Sunday, which are vitally important as well, and of course we're blessed with an endowment. Those are the three sources that make up, generally, typically make up our operating funds. I am once again happy to report that although our pledge payments fell a little bit short in 2022, which actually, I've been working on St. Philip's finances for about the past 4 or 5 years. It's the first year that happened. However, the donations in the plate on Sunday exceeded our budgeted proposal by about $7,800. Yes, the generosity of our non-pledging members and our visitors more than made up for that little bit of loss from this year's pledges. And I would remind you that we had two variables. We don't know for sure what happened, but loss of a rector and inflation are pretty good guesses, I think, about the variables that may have impacted pledge payments. And 96% of our pledge payments were met. So that was pretty wonderful as well. And we should be grateful for that. Now, having said all that joyful stuff, I will tell you, 2022 was a challenging year for the team from the vestry that worked on finances. And it was a team. And I want to point to Harold Byers, who also chairs our endowment committee and was an absolute partner in financial work in the past year, as well as Mike as senior warden. We were the team from the vestry that really were the stewards of finances. And 2022 was challenging because usually we don't have to amend a budget. The vestry adopts a budget. It gets tuned up in January when the pledges are all in and the books are closed for the previous fiscal year. And you just operate from that budget. In 2022, we not only had to amend the budget once, we amended our budget twice because circumstances continue to change, and I'm a persnickety treasurer. that thinks you should operate from a fairly accurate budget. And so for amended budget 1, we learned that our rectors were leaving. And so we had to amend the budget to reduce those costs, which are significant. Wages are the highest expenditure in any nonprofit or church organization or schools or whatever. Also, in the first interim budget, we added wages and benefits for an interim rector. Not really, that was a pipe dream, but we added it. We added that, and also we added quite a bit of money for the rector's search. Now, when that happened, we were working on amended budget in May and June. And by August and September, we realized, oh, there is going to be no interim rector. And most of those search funds probably won't be expended until 2023. We are, and this is so important, we try very hard. We're blessed with an endowment, but we try very hard to keep the draw from the endowment as low as earthly possible. We have a window, 3 to 5% of a 5-year rolling average of our endowment balance we can draw from. But we like to keep it as low as possible so the endowment lasts forever. And it lasts in perpetuity. And so we were drawing too much out of our endowment in that first budget once we learned the rectors were leaving. In the second budget, we aren't going to get an interim. And so in the the second interim budget, which was the third budget of the year, they're all in there if you really want to look at this. What we were able to do was remove the cost of the interim, most of the costs of the search that will happen during this year. The other thing that happened is Terry was assuming more and more and more and more responsibilities in the absence of the rector, and so our vestry voted to increase her hours and fully pay for her health benefits, which we were not doing. We also hired an accounting firm, which our auditor recommended that we do. We were kind of trying to do the books on the cheap with a bookkeeper 2 to 4 hours a week. And we were told, with your endowment funds, you really need an accountant to integrate those monthly reports into the general ledger, which our bookkeeper did not really know how to do. So, and for other reasons. And so we hired an accounting firm, and in our amended budgets, we were able to add an accounting firm in amended budget 1. We were concerned that the costs for that were higher than what we had contracted for, but we did amend the budget. We're in the process of working with that accounting firm, which we are actually not really happy with, and the chances are very good that we will be getting a new accounting and less expensive and more accurate accounting firm. This was an accounting firm that was that we learned about through the National Episcopal Church network, and so it's been disappointing and a challenge. But don't get freaked out about that because Harold and Mike are all over that, and the next vestry will be too. In addition to our operating funds, we also have a restricted fund balance. And Mike referenced in his remarks the wonderful work of groups like the Baby Pantry and Good News Garden. We have a memorial garden. Gary is here. He tends to that. We have a memorial fund, a building fund, and so on. On average, those cash funds, which are the result of specific designated donations or grants, total around $90,000. Yes, they do. That is and it is imperative that we never, ever use those funds except for what they were designated for, and never use them for operation. And our auditor commended us once again for never, ever touching those funds except for what they were meant for. And St. Philip's needs to be proud about that because apparently the auditor sees other churches that have cash flow problems and dip in a little bit. We must never do that, and we don't. And we don't. Of course, we're blessed with an endowment, so shame on us if we do. Final remarks are about the 2023 budget. Our pledges for 2023 came in a little lower than we had expected, but we're still very grateful for them. And we are really happy that for the 2023 fiscal year, the endowment draw we've been able to keep down to 3.42% of that 5-year rolling balance, which is excellent. We really like to be down in that 3-point range, which is hard to do when you have a full-time rector, but we're able to do that. The biggest challenge in doing the 2023 budget, I'll be very honest with you, is looking into a crystal ball and predicting when we need to begin paying our rector. What month is that going to happen in? And so we're lucky that Harold, who is a part of the finance team, is on the discernment committee. But we asked him if he would check in with Joni. No pressure on the discernment committee here, no pressure. But we created a 2023 budget with the new rector arriving in October. We're ready to pay wages and benefits in October. But keep in mind, we really know how to amend a budget. So if anything changes, like a rector comes sooner or a little bit later, it's easy enough to make an amendment. The vestry, that's a process at the vestry level, and that can be tuned up. So those are my remarks. I am happy, or the members of the financial team can help too, if there are any questions.
Brava.
Brava!
Yeah, I said the voting was done, but it's not. We have to vote to accept the 2023
I
budget.
don't know if we do. I think I was wrong on that. Does anybody know? Does the parish accept that, or is that an actual vestry?
I think I know we've done it in the past.
I didn't see it in the minutes last year's minutes.
I think because we had an interim budget last year, we didn't, the parish did not vote on it. Remember we had an interim budget?
Okay, yeah, we did.
Because we didn't know, we didn't have the year's finance. This year we do. So I think we should vote on it.
I do too.
I move that we accept.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the 2023 budget as it appears in your booklet.
I support it.
Well, Joanne got first take on that.
I can move the entire
It's
sentence.
been moved. It's been moved by Joanne. Is there a second? Bruce Ogilvie seconds. That the budget as written in as you see in your bulletin or your annual report be accepted. Any discussions? All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. The budget as moved is accepted. Thanks again, Harold and Barb, for all the hard work you did on this, as well as the rest of the vestry members. This was not an easy thing to do this year because of all the moving parts that we don't normally experience. Harold, I think you were up next. I lost my agenda. Yeah, endowment. If you would say a few words about the endowment, Harold.
Well, I didn't realize I was supposed to say anything. I thought the report might suffice. I think our endowment is in pretty good shape. We are, as I indicated, I think in my brief report, very interested in moving the endowment more toward ESG investing. That is environmental, social, and governance, and in line with the Episcopal Church and in line with our faith, and also eventually in line we hope, with the United Nations principles for responsible investing. Those are all guidelines to make sure that what we invest in is in keeping with our principles. And in fact, I think that those principles can become part of our mission in that we can invest in things that advance what we believe in. And down the road, there will probably be opportunities, especially in fixed income, to use that money even locally to help in, say, affordable housing or other needs where it can be to our advantage and certainly to the advantage of the community. One of the changes we made this year was to change to another manager for a large cap growth fund, and that company is one of the reasons we went that way is because they have quite a rigorous process in sustainable investing. And as I mentioned in the report, there has been some thinking that by investing this way, you're taking risk, you're not taking part in some of the opportunities for rewarding investments. But in the long run, we think that there is more risk in not being sustainable. In the long run, we think that the investments in companies that don't have very good governance, don't have diversity, invest in activities that we really would not want to invest in, those companies will probably not do as well. So, any questions?
Thank you.
Sorry for the surprise. But if you submit a report, be prepared. Debbie or Gary, do you want to talk about Father Lovett? Or just the role of your reports?
I think my report suffices. It's on page 31. Unless anybody has any questions about what we've done and who we've given grants to.
I think it's always a good opportunity to remind the parish about what Father Lovett is and what it does. I mean, just to sort of step back. You know what I'm saying? Well, Gary can do it. Gary can do it.
You turn in a report and you have a presentation. I think that's what was just.
I mean, it's like a plug.
It's a plug. Okay. Stand up with me.
Or you can.
We'll tag team. So this year, 2023, is 40 years of the Father Lovett Fund. So we're going to try to do something special this year to honor Father Lovett.
More ice cream.
More ice cream. Yeah.
Yeah, Father Lovett loved ice cream sundaes. And so that's why in the first Saturday of August, we have Father Lovett's Sunday to commemorate his love of ice cream, and also to remind everybody that the Father Lovett Foundation is an outreach of St. Philip's, and it was formed to be able to provide funds above and beyond what the budget funds were for outreach. And we outreach into the community right in here in Benson County.
And so this year, if for grants, we did, we do awards twice a year, once in May and once in October. And so we did 2 grants, one in each cycle, to the baby pantry. We did Blessings in a Backpack. We did St. Philip's Good News Garden, so they could order new plants and do whatever they do out there.
Hoses.
Lots of hoses. We did a grant for bacon. We did a grant for Habitat for Humanity, who asked for money to help build a house that they're in the process of building. We did Order of Necratius, and we did St. Philip's piano refurbish, because our piano is 100 years old, and it needs new keys and I don't know what all, but it needs pedals or whatever, but.
Everything inside the box.
Yeah, so we provided a grant for that to happen through Larry, so.
Yeah, and Father Lovett is founded primarily with the interest of its corporate funds, and we do take donations. So you can just make it out to St. Philip's Episcopal Church and just put down Father Lovett in the memo if you'd like to donate to the Father Lovett Foundation.
Okay.
See how good
Two more reports that I would like people to present. One is Jody, if you can say something about the discernment thing.
It's in the report. No. First off, I want to thank everyone who's on the discernment committee. You are an awesome group, and we have done some really good work. And I want to thank the congregation for your prayers and support for our work. What we have done so far is a lot of writing. There's a form called the Community Engagement Form that has to go to the diocese and be approved by the bishop. It asks questions like, what's your practice of stewardship? What is your relationship to the larger community? One that we struggle over a lot, how do you handle conflict? And we completed that, and that's gone to the vestry for approval. Our next big project is a parish profile, which will round out what was in the community engagement forms, to give a better idea of who we are, where we come from, what we're looking for. Because on the community engagement form, we were restricted to 1,200 characters for our answer. That's about a third of a page. So that is our next goal. We've got, thanks to Debbie, who has done a tremendous amount of work on the internet, we have an outline for the parish profile, and we've assigned sections for each of us to write, and we will be bringing that back together when we meet the first part of February. I want to say a special shout outs to not only to Debbie, but to Alice, who keeps our minutes, and to Rosemary Hagan, who you probably don't know. She is a member of Grace Church in Traverse City. She's our chaplain, and she provides insight and wisdom in our process, and has been leading devotions for us, and has just really been a real blessing to our group. So thank you for all your support. If you have questions, you know where to find me.
Thanks, Julie. And I would ask Joy to stand and give us kind of an outbrief on
I'll try to be brief. You saw how long my report was.
Yeah.
I wanted to give a little shout out and focus to the Order of Necratius. So the Order of Necratius West Michigan is a cooperative ministry with the Diocese of Western Michigan. St. Philip's, we have our own chapter. We are the first individual chapter, Order of Necratius St. Philip's Episcopal Church. We did 2 tournaments last year. We're hoping to do 3 this year. Between those 2 tournaments, we were able to collect nearly 1,000 pounds of salmon, which was distributed to Bacon, the Empire Food Bank, and here at our own baby pantry. It's a tremendous amount of work, but well worth it. Bacon was very grateful to receive 400 pounds of salmon. We did get a Father Lovett grant. Thank you, Father Lovett. We did need additional coolers for the fish at our tournament in Holland on day 2. which was a Saturday, was extraordinarily busy. I don't know if you're familiar with the size of the coolers, they're about 110 quarts. 9 of them were filled within 45 minutes. We are collecting and begging for fish from fishermen coming in, getting their fish weighed. Didn't want to turn anything down, because you know how I am, I'm gonna take it if it's free. We were lucky because there was a refrigerated truck from another pantry that allowed us to throw our fish on there until we were able to go down to the processing station, because we processed the fish right then and there. So we're hoping to meet that goal again next year. And thank you for everyone that helped and everyone that supports the Order of Necratius. It's a wonderful feeding ministry, and we're hoping maybe to include another food pantry in 2023. The baby pantry, I get emotional. It is my passion. I love the people that come in. I love the volunteers, and I love our community partners. We have partnered with many other organizations. Power Book Bags is very generous to us. We can allow guests to take as many books as they want. We don't ever have to tell anybody, no, can you just take 2? We had one family that walked out with 17 books. It's not a problem, because we are so blessed through Power Book Bags. Their budget for us is usually $4,000 to $5,000 a year that they'll spend just for St. Philip's. We have other volunteers that will sew the book bags for us. We are rich and blessed with that. I can't say enough about First Congregational Benzonia United Church of Christ. Is, I would say, our major partner. Without them and working together with our collection of cans and bottles, we had 199 pair of brand new boots to distribute this year. Part of that we shared with Holy Trinity as they opened up their baby pantry, gave them 30 pair of boots because that's what they asked for. Another great partner that we have, gift-wise, are the other local churches, such as St. Andrew's. They came in yesterday, gave us just a huge tote full of quilts, fur cloths, and the totes. And also, food-wise, we get so much food from Go-Go Squeeze. Once in a while, they'll only give us a half of a pallet, but on Friday we picked up a full pallet of Go-Go Squeeze. Nice. So guests can take as much as they want. So yay, Go-Go. I can't say enough about the people that come and visit us. It's really become something more than I think it once was. Guests, they feel comfortable with us. We have conversations together. They trust us, we trust them. They'll help sometimes. We had one day, when our first day we were giving out coats, and we were slammed, and we didn't have every size out that everyone needed. Someone brought a tote of, I think Wendy brought it in a tote of coats. One of the moms was literally taking coat hangers and hanging up the coats. Didn't ask her to do it, she just did it. It's a wonderful ministry, and any way you want to support it, please do.
Hey.
There is a optics company or a obstetrician company, Wall?
Oh, optical.
Optical.
Oh, that one. Let me,
Yeah,
can I
can I
share
tell a
that?
story?
Do you know who started it?
I don't know who started it, no.
She's a person that we're praying for. Her name is Rebecca McNinch. She has brain cancer now.
Anyway, they have
She's
this,
the one that
they have
started
this
that.
fund drive for the baby pantry every year. I didn't know about this until I was going to do the deposit a couple weeks ago. And there's an envelope full of cash. $726.85. Somebody gave 85 cents. And it was just astounding. I mean,
They have an auction. They make
No, they
things.
do?
They make things at the company, and you know, each person has a talent. Maybe someone quilts something, maybe someone makes, you know, food item, and they put it in the break room and they auction it.
I didn't know about this. It's just one of the many, many things that happens.
We have many connections in the community, yes.
Thanks, Joy. Does anybody else who invested who submitted a report would like to stand up and say anything? If not, those reports are in your annual report. And again, if you have any questions on any of the other reports or anything we've done today, please come see one of your investors. Also, I want to draw your attention to one of the last things in the report is a memoriam. In memoriam. And this past year, there were 3 services, either a service or a burial service, for Larry Burks and Preston Diltz and Kurt Schleifer. I just ask you to remember them in your prayers. This was a slow year for us. If you remember last year, the year before, we had lots of funerals. So we were thankful that we only had to do 3 this year, but those 3 people should be remembered. Okay, I'm going to give a closing prayer, then I'll ask for a motion to adjourn unless there are any other discussion.
Can I just say
Sure.
one more thing? If I may. This is probably the only time we'll all be together like this, and I just wanted to say, for all of you, I am moving to Ann Arbor at the end of March. And since that feels like tomorrow, I wanted to let you know that en masse, okay? Now I'll be around, you know.
We'll be organizing a party.
No, I don't, no, I'm not saying it, in fact, I'm kind of, no. See, I'm still doing this thing, so, but no, I truly wanted to let you know, as I said, as a group, so that I can also talk to you, like, you know, one-on-one, okay? This is just convenient for me, sorry, to tell you in this way. So thank you for the opportunity to serve St. Philip's Church since 2010 in a few capacities. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Let us pray. Almighty God, the giver of all good gifts, who of thy divine providence has appointed various orders of thy church, give thy grace, we humbly beseech thee, to all who are called to any office and ministry for thy people. And so fill them with the truth of thy doctrine and clothe them with holiness of life, that they may faithfully serve before thee to the glory of thy great name and for the benefit of thy holy church. Through Jesus Christ our Lord, who liveth and reigneth with thee in the unity of the Holy Spirit, one God, now and forever. Amen. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Carrie moves, Carrie McCumber moves, and your second, and Patricia Compton seconds. All in favor of adjournment, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. We are adjourned.